Hi guys, my name is Catherine and welcome to Extreme Basics. Today we're going to be talking about color theory and what that is and how to use it in your art. Okay, before we get started into anything, we need to talk about a few terms just so everyone's on the same page and we know what we're talking about. Hue is basically just another word for color. So the example I gave is red because any color that you can think of, that's a hue. Saturation is the intensity of a color. So this is 100% saturated. As you get less saturated, you're going to get more gray tones. On Photoshop, if you go in the top right corner, when you're at 255 for R, for red, then that's the most intense, most saturated type of red there is. Then as you go down here and you kind of curve, then once you're in a gray, that's like the least saturated, and then these are all shades in between. Shade is when you add black to a color to make it darker, and tint is the opposite, where you add white to make it lighter. So again, on Photoshop, if you're in the most saturated hue of red, you can go down this bar and get different shades of red, well, different shades of this hue. So the darkest shade is obviously going to be black, and then there's a million colors in between. And then opposite for tint, you just go on this top bar. So the lightest tint is white, and then there's a million colors in between. So this square of color is basically just different saturations and shades and tints of red. Secondary colors are orange, purple, and green, and you just mix these two colors to get purple, mix these get green, mix those get orange. Once you go another step forward and mix orange and red and purple, then you get the color wheel. Now the color wheel is 12 different hues, and it's used for color harmony. And basically, we're going to be using it to make color schemes. In color theory, there's a bunch of different ways to make colors that look good together, but we're just going to be talking about a few. The first scheme is the analogous scheme. This basically means any colors that are next to each other on the color wheel. So as you can see, you can choose red and orange, greens and blues. Our next color scheme is complementary colors, which you may have heard before. These are colors across the wheel from each other. So red and green, orange and blue. These colors complement each other, but when used at their highest saturation, they may overpower each other and just kind of be a lot together. The next color scheme isn't actually on this chart, but it's monochromatic, which basically means you take a color, like blue, and then you'll just change the hue and saturation to it. So say if we use this kind of blue, we'll use this color, we'll use a darker color, like a darker blue, we'll use a really light blue, and we can make a picture using all these millions of shades of blue that are just in this one hue. Split complementary color schemes are any color, so for example green, and instead of going to the complementary color, you go to the ones right next to it, so red, orange, and red, violet. Okay, so the last color scheme we're going to talk about is the rectangle color scheme. I can't remember what it's called officially, but basically you just make a rectangle on the color wheel, and then those are the four colors you'll be using. So we could be using orange, yellow, violet, and blue, or red, orange, red, violet, yellow, green, blue, green, or any way a rectangle can go on this thing. So that was a lot of information, and not all of it is super important. If you're someone like me, you're not going to go through and actually pick out colors and color schemes every time you make a piece of art. A lot of it is just what feels right to you and what message you're getting across. So for example, if you're drawing a picture of your cat and your cat's a black cat, you're not going to change the color of it. Also, there's a whole thing of the color theory, which is like the psychology of colors. So basically it says like, blue is like a calming color, green is about like health and nature, and there's that whole thing. But that's more for logos, for graphic design, not necessarily pieces of art. It can be, but you don't really have to think about it that much when you're making art. Okay, so let's talk about this in actual artwork and how to use it in your artwork. So here's a picture that I just did pretty quickly one day. I just did random colors and then changed the texture a bit. Okay, so I just cleaned up my thing so you can see it with just base colors, because we're just going to be talking about base colors today, not necessarily shading or textures or anything. So as you can see, once I took off all the textures and shading, it became a lot different. The style I was going for is very like children's book, bright colors, fun, adventurous, whatever. Okay, so we saw the frog that I colored and him in his whole environment and everything, but I just took him and I put him 9 times over here so we can look at different color schemes and see how it works on different colored frogs. The first example of how to color this frog will just be looking up frogs and seeing what kind of frogs come up. Okay, so we have green ones, we have this classic, whatever kind of frog that is. Oh, we have a blue one, we have red one. So the first example would just be finding a reference that you like and then coloring that. So I actually kind of like this little yellow guy. Okay, so now Photoshop is really cool because as we talked about in a previous video, you can use this eyedropper tool. So if I want this exact like mustard color, I can get it really easily. Oops, I picked gray. Okay. So now when we color this guy, we can have the exact color that he is. This is just to show what color palette would look good on him. Let's just go back on the internet and see what color leaves frogs are hanging out with. That's a very bright green. We could do that. Let's go to our greens. I kind of want like a duller, maybe just a darker. That. Okay, so that's our first color, and we're going to call him Reference because we used a reference. And that's a great way to get colors, is just by using a reference. The next frog, I want to use this website called coolers.co. It's really cool, it's really easy. You just say generate, and it'll give you a color scheme. It gives you 5 colors, and we probably don't want purple. You just hit spacebar until you find something you like. So you just copy that, go into your little number generator thing, and paste it. And we have this little color. So since we don't have a reference, we can kind of put this color wherever we want, which is fun. I'm going to make him this color though because I feel like it's kind of a cute frog color. It reminds me of like a little kid's story about like a little toad or something. And then since it gives us 5 colors, and we don't really need this color, let's see what we can do with it. We can make the, no, is that the same color? No, I didn't put it in here. Paste. We can make the whites of his eyes this color, but I feel like that would look weird. That kind of looks cool. I don't know, my other idea was what we could give him little polka dots or something. Okay, so let's call this the Coolers frog because we used coolers to get his colors. And as you can see, whoa, he kind of looks like Pikachu. As you can see, these frogs already give off totally different vibes from each other just from their colors. Okay, our next reference is gonna be, there's this website called canva.com, C-A-N-V-A, like canvas without an S. And there's this article that's called 100 Brilliant Color Combinations and How to Apply Them to Your Designs. And they're just really pretty color combinations. Like, these look great together. I'm really bad at making my own. Oh, wow, I really like that. We should do this one. Just so I can get this, these numbers, I'm gonna make this half screen. Okay, 9, 8, D, B, C, 6. We will call him Canva. Now with these other frogs, we're going to use some of the color schemes we talked about earlier. So let's go back and see what our options are. Okay, let's go to the first one. Okay, so remember we talked about colors right next to each other on the color wheel. So red, orange, reddish orange, that kind of stuff. I think that would look good, but also blue, green, I want to try out. So let's make him a fun blue. And when you're using your own color schemes, sometimes they're gonna look bad, but that's okay because you're just trying things out. It's really about what you like and what you're going for. Okay, since I made that dark, I'm gonna make everything else kind of dull and light. Oh, actually, we should make him the monochromatic one. Okay, so this one turned out to be the monochromatic. So we'll just call him mono. Next one. Okay, so since we didn't use what we were gonna use before, let's do that. Should we do, I kind of want to do red-orange and have orange be the main color. So let's make a really bright orange the main color. Just because with these frogs, I want them to stand out. I kind of want them to be like you'd see in like a children's book. Like I want them to be bright and colorful and happy. If I was making like a darker kind of image, if it was rainy and gloomy, I wouldn't be going with these saturated colors. But because I want it to be something bright and happy and for kids, I want it to be fun. When you have one bright color, it's better to put more neutral colors with it. Well, I mean, depending on what you're going for. So we just use kind of like orangish reds and yellows. We used B next to each other color scheme. Let's see what other options we had. So, we could use complementary colors. Maybe we should do yellow purple. Like a dark purple, would that be cool? Let's try it. I always find that complementary color schemes are so much better for logos if you want things to stand out that are just like simple symbols or something. I don't love that, but we tried it. So this is the complementary colors. Okay, maybe we should try the next to each other color scheme again. Why don't we do reds and purples? That sounds kind of fun. Okay, that one worked better, I think. Next to each other color scheme. Let's try the rectangle. Orange, yellow, purple, and blue. Let's do it. That didn't turn out too bad. And our last one, I think I want to do another one from Coolers. Or maybe I'll do another one from here. Because these are great. I think I'm going to use one that's not really made for a frog. I think I'm going to do these ones and make him the berry color. Okay. And that's the other one from Canva. Okay, and those are the frogs that we got just from a reference, coolers.com, canva.com, using some of the things that we learned today. And as you can see, we have lots of options. I think some of them are really cute. If you don't, that's okay. You can do your own thing. But I feel like we learned a lot today. We learned a lot of terms. We learned how to apply them. We learned different color schemes. And now you can go out and just experiment. Just go have fun. Go try new things, go find websites, go find references, and just do whatever you want. But that's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed, and let me know in the comments below what you want my next video to be about. Subscribe if you're interested in art, whether that be digital art, traditional art, 2D, 3D, anything. If you're interested in coding, subscribe. Ben makes videos on this channel about coding also. And yeah, that's all for this video. Thanks for watching. Bye.